Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm gamesplaining Atheneum Mystic Library. So Atheneum Mystic Library is published by Renegade Games. It is a game about magical books and your storage of them. That sounds just like Ex Libris, which is why I did the Gamesplain of Ex Libris last week, even though it's like 5 years old. This game came out in 2020, so it's now 2022, it's 2 years old. That's a bit better. I've only just come across it. It's only just come in. I'm not going to get into that because I get into that every time I'm kind of seeing a game a year after it actually got published or 2 years after it actually got published. It's just one of the things. Deal with it. Let's move on. So in this game, you're drafting one card from a hand of cards and then you're passing those cards to the next player. The card that you've chosen has 3 spots on it. You get all the stuff in the bottom. The person on your left gets all the stuff on the top left. The person on your right gets all the stuff on the top right. And so what you're doing when you play a card is you're selecting what you get, but you're also selecting what the people next to you get. It's an extraordinarily interesting way to play a game because you're really reliant on half of the stuff you're getting coming from your neighbors and what they're able to give you. Now, if you're playing really well, especially later in the game, you might be looking at a card that gives a free book to this position on a bookshelf for the person left on the right. Now, if you're working really hard, you'll notice that they've already filled up that space. They can't actually take a book there. And so playing that card, they're not going to get any benefit. And it's a little bit of a backhanded hit on the people around you, but are you playing this to disincentivize or not give stuff to the people next to you, or are you playing it for your benefit? And that's a very much a question mark all the way through the game of, if I play this, I will get this is what I need. Okay, I can play this and get this what I need. I've got 2 choices here because these cards are really similar. Which one's going to do them the worst is probably the best way to think about it. What I find is that you always want to, and this is a general rule for every game that I've come across that I've played, is that you want to always do stuff that will benefit you, not do stuff that will negatively affect your neighbors. Because as soon as you're playing a game to negatively affect your neighbors, you're not doing stuff that benefits you, in which case you're not going to do well. That's my experience, and I think that that's a really good philosophy to work on. So if you're doing stuff that negatively affects your neighbors, that's okay as long as you are getting a positive benefit yourself. In amongst all of this stuff, what you're trying to do is fill up your bookshelf with the appropriate colors of books or the appropriate pattern to be able to take or at least put a wand onto one of the cards that's available. The problem is that those cards move along each time. So the last card in the line is going to get taken out of the line and a new one added in. And so you've got to think, is it worthwhile going after this last card? Can I get it this time? Because if I don't get it this time, I'm going to not have a chance to get that at all. So I probably should work on one of these earlier cards. There's a lot of kind of to and fro on the thought process of which of these cards do I need to go after. On top of that, there is a bag of stuff that you can reach in and grab one out, and that might have 2 books on it, or on the other side might have a candle, or it might have some wands that you can get. There's a few different things that you'll pull out of that bag that give you some different benefits. You might be able to add some extra shelves onto your bookshelf. There's a lot of stuff going on with this game, but it plays relatively easily. It always just comes back to how well can you manipulate your shelf to get the design that you're looking for in these cards, because they're going to give you the majority of the points. Yes, there are points at the end of the game for having books of your particular color that are next to each other, orthogonally adjacent, that is. So if there's just one of those books, say I'm playing black, if there's one black book by itself, I get 0 points. If I've got a black book sitting next to another black book, I'm getting, I think it's 4 points, 2 points per book from memory. One above that as well, as long as it's orthogonally adjacent, you can keep traveling through. And so you end up trying to join together your color, and it kind of gives you something to do if you're not able to go after any of those particular cards that offer different patterns on your shelf. For example, your bookshelf on this certain area of the shelf must be with these colors. If you've got no chance of getting that, you might as well just go after the black. Or if, more importantly, if you've got no chance of getting any of the cards that are out there, you might as well go after your own colours and trying to get them up. There's a lot of stuff to think about this one. I find that it plays really easily, but you have a good amount of thinking because you're going to take your cards, you're going to choose one of them, you're passing them on. And you're getting a new batch of cards in. So once this one's played, you're then getting a new batch of cards. And that gets whittled down. I think the last card that you choose, you'll have a choice of 2 and the other one gets discarded. And then you go to the second deck, which has some little bit heavier on the things that you can get they're really designed to be gained in the second half of the game. But it doesn't go too long. I think there's like 12 turns overall in the entire game. It doesn't matter how many players there are. If it's a 2-player game, the other player will get both of the things at the top of your card. And that's basically the only difference between the 2-player game and even the 5-player game. There's just an ability to keep moving. There's no real push-pull between players. The only thing that will change is your ability to give stuff to players next to you. That's the only real interaction between them, because each of the cards that you're claiming, anyone can claim them. You've just got to put a wand onto them. You do need to find ways to get wands back, enough wands back, for you to be able to use on future cards. But all of this stuff is kind of, I can get this or I can get that. Those wands can't come out of the bag, or they might be on the cards themselves. There are icons that allow you to move books around, and it'll actually say how many books you can move. And using those abilities is actually really important to this game overall. Look, I think that's enough about Atheneum Mystic Library. Please go ahead and watch my Gamesplay and Gamesplanation to get a feel for the game and how it actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming!